Look like the types who'll arrest you.
Might want to put that seatbelt on.
Put you in handcuffs, drag you down to the station.
You shooting for if you ain't walking.
We just shoot you. Boom. You're not the bad guys. We are.
Seem like the whole city go against me.
So we have the Outlaws versus the Regulators in Den of Thieves. Which group are you with? Well, choose a side. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for Den of Thieves. I really do appreciate it. But before we get into the review, help your boy out by clicking that subscribe button. Also, click the bell so you can be notified when I make uploads, and also give me that thumbs up. Let's see if we can get this video to 100 likes. So you're probably looking at me like, Brandon, what's going on? You got on this hat right here. Yeah, I bet I look, I don't know how I look. It says Outlaws. They gave this out at the screening that I went to. You can either pick an outlaw shirt, not shirt, outlaw hat, or a regulator hat. And I chose the Outlaws, and you know, it's pretty neat, but I'm gonna take this thing off. I don't really wear hats, and to be honest with you, I do feel a little bit silly. And they also gave out these little posters right here, you know, where you got the Outlaws on one side and the Regulators on the other. So enough of that. But now we have Den of Thieves, another January movie, a movie that I was somewhat looking forward to because I like heist films, and this one has to do with heist films, and it's going to have a lot of guns. And, you know, I'm not necessarily an obsessive gun lover, but I do like them in the movies. But this movie is being directed by Christian Gudjast. If you've never heard of him before, that's perfectly fine, because this is his directorial debut. He has been in the film game a few times. I looked him up. He is the writer on London Has Fallen, which was the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen. And I didn't like Olympus Has Fallen, but I did like London Has Fallen. So he wrote that, and he also wrote A Man Apart, which came out in 2003 with Vin Diesel. But this is his directorial debut. Now, what Den of Thieves is about is you have two sides. Like I said, you have the Regulators and you have the Outlaws. You have the Regulators, which are the police, which are being led by Gerard Butler, who plays a gentleman by the name of Nick Flanagan. And you also have the Outlaws that 50 Cent and Osei Jackson Jr., which is what's his name, Ice Cube's son, and they are the Outlaws. And so the Outlaws are like this elite group of people that are bank robbers, and they want to rob the Federal Reserve. And Gerard Butler's group, the Regulators, they're like an elite group of the LA County Sheriff's Department, and they want to stop them. And, you know, that's a pretty good contrast. So, you know, I like that. These are not just normal cops, and these are not just normal robbers, you know, so they kind of heightened it up on both ends. And that's one of the things that made it pretty interesting to me. And, yeah, something that, you know, made me get a little bit excited about it. Now, as the film for itself, the way it started out, I really did enjoy the way it started out. It kind of just lets you know the severity of the situation on how often banks are robbed in the city of Los Angeles. And I believe they said something like, you know, per year, 2,400 times a year a bank is robbed. And it went about how many months and how many days. And I like that. And I'll go ahead and give Christian Gudjast some credit here. As far as the visuals are concerned with this, he really knows how to frame the action and suspense, because there are a lot of guns blazing in this movie. There is an action scene at the very beginning and the very end, and to me personally, those were the best parts of the movie, because you know, just the way he was just choreographing all the shots and just showing bullets flying back and forth. I don't know if these are like, I'm not like a gun enthusiast and just like a freaking expert on guns. I don't know if this was some type of CGI used, but it looks like the guns or the bullets they had were like tracer rounds. And that's to where when the gun is fired and the bullets are flying, you can actually see the bullet. It's like a streaming light going back and forth, you know, and that was pretty cool. I really do like that. So, you know, the the gun battles in this movie were freaking phenomenal. I'm not saying that it's the best thing in the world. To me, that title still goes to Bad Boys 2 when they had the highway chase towards the middle of the scene. That movie right there is still great to me, by Michael Bay, which came out in 2000. Was it 2001? No, 2003 actually. So I'm not saying that it's the best in the world, best in the world, but it is something that stood out to me and really got me on board early on in the film. What got me on board next are actually the characters. There are a lot of strong characters in this movie. They have very, very strong personalities, and they are distinct. And the film really takes a good minute in letting you get to know them through their introduction. As far as getting to know them in depth, I'll touch on that in a second. But it gives you subtitles, like, okay, you know, the camera just centers in on one person, lets them have a lot of dialogue, and they're monologuing and things like that, just kind of talking to you and the audience on, you know, what they're trying to do in this particular scene. And it gives you subtitles. Like the first guy that you meet, his name is Merriman. And he is like the leader of the outlaws. And I was just kind of saying to myself when I saw him, like, okay, this guy right here has a strict code of conduct that he's not going to break. He's disciplined. He's trained. You know, this is not just some guy that's going to go rob a convenience store or 7-Eleven or something like that. You know, this guy has an agenda. And I'm like, man, I cannot wait to get to know this character. Same thing with O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son. He plays somebody named Donnie. He's not the exact same of Merriman, but he is just somebody else that I'm just like, okay, I can't wait to get to know this character. I like where this is going. You know, this like what the film, after the first action scene, what the film is really doing is just setting up the most epic chessboard game that you can possibly think of, just rearranging all the pieces, letting you know, okay, this person is a pawn, this person is a rook, this person is a bishop, king, queen, and things like that, letting you know their rank and how important they are to the scenario. Same thing with 50 Cent, who plays somebody by the name of Levi. We got to know him early on, and a little bit of his I don't want to say backstory, and I put a pin on that. The reason why I say backstory, we didn't really get to know his backstory, but we got to know who he was a little bit outside of this outlaw group. And then you go up to the Regulators, led by Gerard Butler, like I said, being played by Nick Flanagan. You know, just not really pertaining to the movie, kind of behind the scenes, the director wanted him to gain 25 pounds, and he did. And when I was looking at him on the screen, I was just like, okay, wow, Gerard Butler, he was out, you know, he's from 300. That's when he popped up on the scene for me, which came out February, March of 2007. And of course, not the Persians, I forgot the name of that movie, but they were all swole and cut in that movie. But Gerard Butler in this movie was like huge, and like, he is an asshole. His character is like a big asshole, just kind of comes into the scene late, talking trash to everybody. And what I noticed is he's kind of like one of those characters that can dish out garbage, but he can't take it. He can dish it, but he can't take it. Cause, you know, he was late to one of the scenes of crime, and, you know, everybody's just kind of doing their job, and he just comes in there talking trash, and then somebody comes back with a little snarky remark. He got a little offended by it or whatever, and that just kind of stood out to me. I'm just kind of like, oh, don't work like that, brother Gerard. I mean, you can't just come in talking trash and then get mad at somebody when they throw it back at you. And there was one particular scene where they had him like talking to, he's real rugged, dirty jeans, dirty boots, doesn't really shave, hair kind of messed up, looked like he just came from a strip club and was there for 8 hours, food stains on his shirt. But then he's talking to like a clean cut dude that's in a suit, that's like a vegan, and there was a little joke in there, and I kind of like that back and forth right there. So as far as like the action is concerned, and then them introducing us to the characters and all of that great jazz, I was loving it. I was like, okay, man, we in January and we getting a good movie. This is what's up. I'm liking this. I'm feeling this, and especially also when we're getting to know the introduction of the Regulators group, because think of the movie Training Day with Denzel Washington. Okay, when Denzel Washington started out as a cop in that movie, he told the other guy, and I can't believe I forgot his name. because this is right after Dome. I wasn't gonna talk about this, but he was just kind of saying, yeah, when I started in the police force, I was, by the book, but like later on, 15, 20 years into his career, he was just kind of like, man, F this, I'm gonna do the things the way I want to do it to get things done, because all that patty cake and being nice to convicts and suspects and things like that just doesn't work. The streets are rough, and you got to be a rough cop too. So Gerard Butler's character was just like that, but heightened to the next level. But he had a whole team of police guys like that, within his unit. So I'm just like, man, like this is like, you have the Justice League, and then you have the Legions of Doom. And Gerard Butler's that's a comic book reference if you don't know. And everyone may not know what it is, so let me explain. You have the Justice League, which is a team of good guys, superheroes. Okay, I'm pretty sure you heard of the Justice League, but the Legion of Doom is just like the Justice League, but the bad guys. That's kind of how the Outlaws were in this movie. They didn't, in the trailers, he said to himself, like, look, we're not gonna put the cuffs on you, okay? If we're engaged in a battle, we're just going to shoot you. And that was in the trailer. Of course, that was in the movie, and that's like a really bold thing to say. And that's just really how his group was. He's just kind of like, hey, we're a gang, but we're a gang that happens to have badges. And I'm just like, wow, this is at the very beginning of the movie, going through all the character introductions and things like that. And I'm just like eating it all up. I'm like, okay, man, this is great. This is fantastic. We finna have, the good slash bad guys versus the bad slash good guys or whatever. Because the reason why I say that is, in like when you look at this poster, you could flip it upside down, like, kind of like some parallel. And they were giving out, I'm finna make a mess. They were giving out outlaws and regulators. And like the image on screen before the movie started, it was like choose a side. And that's like the marketing material. And I really like that because early on, when you're getting to know all the players, you really don't know which side you want to choose. You really don't know who you're rooting for. And that's just something that's great that really gets you engaged into the film. And I talked about all the great things about the characters and how they were introduced and each of them and the outlaws and the regulators and all of that. But as you know, every movie is not perfect. There is a lot of good in this movie, but there is also, I don't want to say a lot of bad, but the bad things in this movie really did stand out to me, and I'm going to talk about that. So I said the very beginning of the film was great, and the very end of the film was great too, but the middle of it really did drag to me. To the point where I was like, okay, what's going on? This movie started out so great. But it just really started dragging, and it really just started getting boring, and I was just kind of losing focus, just kind of saying to myself, okay, when are we going to get something good again? And what was frustrating was when you have such great introduction of characters on both sides and you don't know who to root for, and you have such a great introduction to the groups of people, the groups that these particular characters are in the film, and I was sitting there waiting like, okay, when are they going to reveal this information? And this is vital information to the story, to the plot, to the whole development of the film. When is the film going to let us know why these characters chose the certain path that they're walking today? And we never got to know that. Like the outlaws, they want to, and excuse me prior to this, if I was getting the outlaws and the regulators mixed up, my apologies. The regulators are the cops, which is Gerard Butler's team, and the outlaws are the bank robbers. The film never let us know why the outlaws wanted to rob a bank, other than, okay, I guess money. But for them to be such a disciplined team, to have all this training and just follow a specific code, we never got to know why. Like, what happened in their life? I mean, they kind of let us know that a lot of them kind of served in the armed forces many, many years ago. But how do you go from serving your country to robbing banks? Like, what happened? That's like complete opposite. And the film never let us know that. And I was just really frustrated by that. The film also never let us know, like, why do we have this super duper elite, rugged, don't give a crap police force with the LA County Sheriff's Department that are going about things that their own dirty way, that don't write tickets and don't cuff people and just would shoot suspects, things like that. What happened in Gerard Butler's life that made him go down this path that he was the first 10 or 15 years of his career where he tried to go by the book and you know he lost his family or anything like that, to where he's like, man, if this, I'm gonna do it my way. No, we never got to know that. Now they do let us get to know Gerard Butler's family, and those particular scenes, you know, kind of just let us know where he came from, but it didn't really add on to the story or the motivation of why Gerard Butler went on this path. And the same thing with 50 Cent. You've seen it in the trailers. We got to meet his wife and we got to meet his daughter, but you know, we don't know why he went from a military guy to a bank robber. We don't know why Merriman did that. We don't. The only character that we kind of get to know of why. We don't even get to know that with O'Shea Jackson, the guy that played Donnie or whatever. And his character is really going to surprise you. And I don't want to say any more after that because I don't want to spoil it for you. But I just was getting like so freaking frustrated. Like, when are they going to give us this information? I want more other than they just want to rob a bank. Because when I was watching this, I kept thinking of the movie Ocean's 11 with Matt Damon. I'm finna say Danny Glover. Matt Damon, George Clooney, and you know everybody else in that movie. They had a reason why they wanted to rob Terry Benedict. Okay, they had a disdain for the casino business, but also we found out at the very end of that movie that it was personal because Terry Benedict was he was taking advantage of people and being a bully and doing all these shady deals and things like that. Of course, you know, he was dating his ex-wife, Julia Roberts, and with a number of other reasons. They had a valid reason why they was going that way. When you look at the movie The Italian Job, another heist movie, they had a reason why they wanted to rob Edward Norton's character. You know, it was revenge, and also I forgot the other reason, but that film provided us reasons. There was no reason in this movie at all that gave us any type of indication of why they wanted to they were just obsessed with robberies, you know. And I wish we wouldn't have known that they were in the armed forces, because that by them including that in the movie, it just created more of a contrast and more confusion. Like, whoa, how did you go from this to this? You know, how do you go from worshiping? Well, no, I don't want to say that. I won't say that, but that was just like really frustrating, guys. And this movie would be like a 9 out of 10, you know, anything like that, or higher if they would have gave us that information. And another thing that really frustrated me about the Outlaws is, out of all the freaking banks in the world that you could rob, why do you want to rob the Federal Reserve? Like, that's impossible. That's like nearly trying to break into heaven or something. Okay, you know, I may have exaggerated there a little bit, but it's like you're like you could either, if you just want money, because we don't know why they want, you know, but if they would have gave us a reason, maybe I could be telling you this now. But they describe this as like the Federal Reserve. It's been tried to people have tried to break into this place in the past 53 times, and nobody has ever made it past the lobby. And I'm just like, why the hell would y'all want to try? Who are y'all? I don't know. The Legion of Doom, yeah, I guess so. But then again, when they're casing the joint, we don't even know where Merriman, the leader of the Outlaws, is getting all this information. Like, he at one point in time, he just says that the place is impossible to case. You know, if you're standing in front of the building or in this vicinity for more than 2 minutes, your face pops up on all types of databases or whatever. Like, if you're there for 2 minutes, security will come and find you and ask you to leave. Or if you do that again or whatever, you're gonna like go to jail, because that's just so secure and how, you know, how it is. But then like later on, a character asks like, man, how are you getting all this information? And it's like, when the Merriman was like, don't worry about it. Now, I'm not spoiling the movie. And I'm just like, okay, that's just something like, where are you getting all this information? The film is not telling us, but it could have been telling us this in the middle of the movie. But no, we're getting all these pointless scenes that really don't have anything to do with anything, and characters are having pride and doing this. And I'm just like, why are we looking at this scene? Why are we looking at this scene here and here? Some of them were entertaining, some of them were not. But then the film tries to clean up the middle of the mess by a twist at the end of the movie that you are not going to predict. It is literally impossible for you to come up with any type of idea of how this movie is going to end. You're not going to see it coming. Even with me saying that, you're not going to see it coming. I mean, you're watching the last fight scene or battle and all that good stuff, and it's very entertaining. I really did enjoy it. It really is a nice gunfight. you kind of saying to yourself, okay, if it's going this way, how is this film really going to end? And it was surprising, and it tried to tie up a few loose ends, but I said in another review, still some of the loose ends kind of just, were gone with the wind and blew away, and they are never coming back. So I was like, yeah, okay, the movie is entertaining now, because I was getting a little frustrated, but it could have been so much better. And honestly, I walked out of the theater frustrated, and my entire drive home, I was just kind of thinking about the movie, trying to piece stuff together, and I just wasn't able to. I'm still going to give this a positive rating, but like I said, I was frustrated and I wanted a lot more. If I had to rate Den of Thieves out of a 1 out of 10, I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. Yes, a 6.5 out of 10. But guys, that's just my opinion. Have you seen Den of Thieves, or do you want to see it? Have I turned you on? Have I turned you off? Do you agree with me, or do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation going and keep it flowing. If you like this video, go ahead and give me the thumbs up, and if you don't, that's fine. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the bell so you can be notified. Go to my website, check me out there, and look me up on social media. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is right there at the bottom of the screen, and I'm providing a link to all that good stuff down in the description box below. And I've been getting the great feedback, guys. And if you really want to help me, it will help me a lot if you like my Facebook page, and there's a link down in the description box below. 6.5 out of 10 is a positive rating. I still recommend that you see this movie. There were some people walking out that agreed with me. There was some that like it a lot more than I did, and some that, all movies are subjective. But guys, thank you again for tuning in to my opinion/review for Den of Thieves, directed by Christian Gudgas, starring O'Shea Jackson Jr., 50 Cent, and Gerard Butler. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.